Shalom WJC family. Time for our weekly Torah talk back from my summer break, and great to be back with you as we read in synagogue this week Parshat Reeh as we make our way through the book of Deuteronomy. And Parshat Reeh includes a listing, one of the liturgical calendars, a listing of all of our holidays. And I want to focus in on that. Another part of Parshat Reeh talks about how we take care of those in need. And they are, in fact, linked. And I think from the insight, we learn of what true service to God means. Now, what do I mean by that? We might say, if you say to someone, what's the best way to serve God? They might say, well, if it's a Jewish person, I go to synagogue on the holidays. I observe Shabbat, or even I give tzedakah. That is all truly serving God, but it might not be enough. And Rashi, the great medieval commentator, makes that link for us in a verse during the listing of all of these holidays, when God is describing the holiday of Shavuot. That's the Feast of Weeks, the one that comes 7 weeks after Passover, when we celebrate the reception of the Torah on Mount Sinai. It says, V'samachta lifnei Adonai Elohecha. You shall be sameach, be joyful, and celebrate before the Lord your God. Ata uvincha uvitecha ve'avdecha ve'amatecha. You and your son and your daughter and your male servant and your female servant. V'halevi asher bisharecha, and also the Levite who's among you. V'hager v'hayatom v'ha'amana asher bikirbacha, and the stranger and the orphan and the widow who are among you. So we have this command to celebrate, and Rashi makes the following comment, and we get this list of people who have to be with you. Members of your household, like your son and daughter and your servants, as well as people who have no place else to go, right? The Levi doesn't have their own property, the Levite, because they serve the Beit HaMikdash, serve in the temple instead of having their own property. And then, of course, the stranger and the widow, the stranger, the orphan, and the widow are those that would be in need. So what does Rashi say in his comment on the passage? He says, the Levite, the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow, the orphan and the widow, these four are mine, corresponding to the four that are yours: your son, your daughter, your manservant, and your maidservant. Right? So it lists four members of your household and then four members who are in need. And God says, those are mine. That's my household. If you gladden mine, I will gladden yours. And Rashi brings this comment from the Mechilta de Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. What an amazing, amazing idea, right? That there are two sides of service to God. On the one hand, yes, going to synagogue and being joyful and celebrating the holidays, keeping kosher, sure, being hospitable, giving tzedakah, all of those things are important. And equally important, balanced 4 to 4, are sharing that with people outside of your household. Right? Making sure that service to God means also service to those who don't have other resources. Right? In other words, if those are God's, then it's our job to serve them. Right? Those who are without resources, Rashi is telling us, the Midrash is telling us, the Torah is telling us, are as much our responsibility in serving God as doing these mitzvot, as keeping these celebrations, as being devout and coming to synagogue. I think it's a beautiful concept. So often we think that to truly serve things, to make a difference, we have to get involved in big movements, right? We talk about politics constantly today. We talk about big things. We talk about what we see on the TV or on our streams. But I think the message here is that it's actually simpler than that. And if we really want to make a difference, if we really want to serve God, it's not about the movement we can spark or that we can join. It's about the difference we can make for the next door neighbor, right? As important as the words Levite, stranger, orphan, and widow is the word Bikir Becha, in your midst, the ones that are close to you, nearby. We spend so much time looking afar right now, trying to make a difference for things that are far away. Are we doing enough to take care of those who are right by us, right near us? They, the Torah is telling us, are our responsibility. That service to God means taking care of them on God's behalf. In a world that keeps drawing our eyes far away, this passage in the Torah about a simple holiday that should be simple to observe, V'samachta, go be merry, that it's actually part of it is keeping our eyes close, is looking at what's around us, is seeing how our neighbor is doing, is seeing how the ones who are struggling the most in our communities are doing. That real service to God has to include that. It also has to include celebration with our families and education and all of those things, but you cannot only do one and you cannot only do the other. It's not enough to only celebrate among your own, and it's not enough to only take care of the others, but it is that balance of bringing God into our lives, our personal lives, our family life, our community life, as well as into the lives of others through the service that we do. Ultimately, those together make the full experience of our faith and of mitzvot, and ultimately that is the way that both are required in order to serve God truly. I hope we all have that sense of serving our community and have the spiritual fulfillment that can come with it, as well as observing the holidays, the high holidays coming up in not too long, but observing the holidays, coming to shul and feeling the samachta, the sameach, the joy that comes with that. And I wish you a Shabbat Shalom. You should have a sameach Shabbat, a joyful Shabbat, as well as a peaceful one, and hopefully, maybe in honor of Shabbat, share a little something with someone in need. Shabbat Shalom.